Hello, happy Sunday. How's everybody doing? Mm, I think I forgot to change the title to tell you. My apologies. I think I forgot to change the title. Um, so for those of you who have been following the Ruby Frankie 8 passengers case, I did a couple of videos on this yesterday. But the only two that I covered were the kids escaping, and they were reduced, right? So there's longer stuff out there. Um, there's some pretty graphic pictures of our Russell's wounds. So let me go into a little bit. Like I watched a lot of footage. I watched a lot of the footage. So for the footage that I did not cover in a live, I'll just describe it. There was a I don't know if that's a PD or if it's a sheriff's office that was responding to this. But, they had to take pictures of all the wounds and everything, and they had to cut off the duct tape. So, what they did was, and he described it as both of them did it, peanut butter or chocolate. I don't know what that means, Janine, but basically, they had to pull down, they had to cut off those, um, the duct tape. And when they pulled it off, that's not important to this conversation right now. Um, then I would prefer chocolate. Basically, when they pulled the duct tape off, and I'm going to give you a graphic alert on this one, part of his skin came off with the adhesive. The one of the responding officers who talked about the situation said that it smelled like rotting flesh. It smelled like rotting flesh. And that's why the EMT was crying when she came away from the situation. Well, thank you, Dakota. And good afternoon to you as well. I appreciate the subscription. Um, I don't have any like avatars or anything like that. I haven't gotten that far where like I know how to do all that yet, but so he was obviously incredibly emaciated. Some of the footage shows his legs and some of it blurs it out because they are so thin. We're talking like Eugenia Cooney thin on these kids. Um, so there's a ton of additional footage to the rescue of our Russell. I mean, sorry, I fucked that up. Our Frankie. Um, but he apparently did not cry. He did not wince, and he just let them do what they needed to do and take him off to the hospital. So it took them 4 hours to get Frankie out of the closet that she was in at Jody's house. But some of the more bizarre things that have come out, and I don't think I can pull this up while I'm doing a live stream. Not this way on a mobile app, right? First of all, I want to point out a discrepancy. In Kevin Frankie's first interview, hi Dan Sal, one of his first interview with the police when he was a bit reluctant to give over information. Not necessarily that he felt that he was in trouble because obviously he was out of the house for 13 months, but he was so brainwashed into supporting these women that he didn't want to get them in trouble. And his concern was far more about Ruby than it was about the health and safety about his kids. Well, thank you, Denzel. I appreciate you saying that. Hope you're okay. I've actually been kind of sick down under the weather, if you will, for the last couple of days, and I'm starting to feel better now. I've been able to like stomach some peanuts. I'm gonna have some peanuts. Um, so I don't understand why Kevin and Pam aren't also being criminally investigated, especially given some of the stuff that he said in the second interview. Hold up. I'm a foodie beauty it right now. Have some peanuts. Okay. So you may remember that there was some body cam footage from like last summer where Kevin went back to the house and he wanted to press charges of burglary against Sherry Frankie, the adult daughter, because she had already been in the house and retrieved some items for the kids within her care, which are the two middle daughters. And it was, like electronic stuff. But apparently, he thought that she picked up like a journal and some other like paperwork. And this second interview shows why he might have been so scared about that. Because when the police were doing their searches, they did locate a journal, which that journal has been released in its entirety as of yesterday. And I think that one is about 60 pages long, and there's probably a few React channels that are doing deep dives into the writing on that particular journal. But he was talking about the pen papers. And I think the channel is Hidden True Crime that has like Dr. John and his wife. They kind of talked about that a lot in their live stream from, I think, yesterday. I think it was last night or something. And really talked about the significance of these pen papers. Because Kevin Frankie went into some weird ass shit in this second interview. It's an audio interview, so there's no video of it. But he was talking about like paranormal stuff happening in the house, in both houses. Now, here's where the contradiction comes up because in his first interview, he said he had never been to Jody's house. He had never been to Ivan's, Utah. But in the second interview, he said that he and Ruby were down there and we saw a ton of paranormal activity in her house. plates flying out of the kitchen, things banging in the basement, shit like that. And Jody was telling them that she was like, she believed that the devil was trying to possess her. So I want you to really like think about that. Like what kind of beta male you have to be to allow your wife to get fully sucked into a cult, right? And to not only allow her to get sucked into a cult, because like I have an ex-boyfriend where his mom, who passed away long before we were dating, but when she was married to his father, she was converted to Jehovah's Witness. This was actually before he was even born, right? Even that level of indoctrination, I would think, as somebody in a loving relationship, you would have some serious questions about, well, why did you decide to do this? What do you feel like is lacking in your life? Why do you trust this organization? Things like that, right? Thank you, Denzel. I'm working on it. I'm just trying to like lay low for now. But I do have to get some chores done because I was down for like 2 days, right? Um, Dakota, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this if you've been following it as a fireman and an EMT, right? So, Kevin seems very much like a beta male who kind of went along with whatever. I particularly remember a clip from Eight Passengers where Ruby wanted to discipline some kids at the dinner table and asked Kevin, oh, I know what they did. They took like all of these things that really mattered to them, all the kids, including somebody's homework that needed to be turned in, and told them that they needed to repent and shit, right? So Kevin said that they needed to either pay to retrieve the items back, like monetary value, or do a similar value chore to earn it back. So it's not like he was unaware of the harsh discipline that was going on in that house before he left. And he knew about the episode where Frankie was denied lunch and other children were denied meals in other episodes. So it's not like he was stupid. This is why I don't understand why they weren't criminally investigated too. Because there's testimony from Jessie Hildebrand, who is Jody's niece, who also received similar treatment. Said that she was forced to work in the hot sun, forced to sleep on the ground, detained, shit like that. She said Pam was a watcher and was ensuring that she had no way out. She couldn't contact anybody for help because Pam would tattle on her to Jody. So anyway, this second interview, Kevin talks about there being unexplained paranormal activity at Jody's house, a house that he had supposedly never been to before, as he said in the first interview. I would think that'd be sketchy enough for them to be deep diving into him, you know? And so this man, okay. First of all, Jody is supposed to be a life coach and a therapist. um, which means they are, trying to coach you through life events like a psychiatrist would. Sorry, I just want to shift my chair. So I would think that even just having dinner with that person would be a conflict of interest. Like, you don't invite your therapist into your personal life. But Jody apparently was having some sort of mental breakdowns because she believed that she was possessed by the devil. So it sounds like what she was doing to these kids was a whole lot of projection because she believed that about herself. So obviously they must be possessed too, right? Um, the She went to go stay with her friends, the Hannahs, and then started making outrageous claims that they had um, kidnapped her. Basically, they detained her. But their story is that she was acting very bizarre. She started hitting on the husband while she was there, and so they asked her to leave. And at that point, Ruby said that she needs to come and live with us, right? Again, like I said, totally inappropriate for your therapist to even have dinner with you, let alone live in your house with you. This is somebody who you've had private conversations with about your life and who is now inserted into your life. He said that when she got there, first she had like a spare bedroom or something, and she would go through visions like for hours at a time. And while she was doing these visions, more and more, Kevin was getting separated from Ruby. He was being forced to sleep downstairs. He was being told he couldn't talk to the children anymore. Ruby started sleeping with Pam in her bed. I mean, how beta male do you have to be to realize that this woman is moving in on your wife? Now, they're not saying that anywhere, right? Except for us speculation channels. That um, there was evidence that Jody was purposely separating these couples to actually have romantic affairs with the wives, and in some cases, the husbands. So she was probably bisexual. She was probably repressed, and that's why she kept, throwing out all of this demon possession and shit like that. But at the end of it, when she stopped having her visions like that, she started inviting Pam over as well. And they would go in that room for hours at a time and apparently have visions together. And there is a much larger journal that Jody wrote that is called the Pen Papers. And within the Pen Papers, it documents all of the visions that they had. And she believed that this would become scripture, that she was some level of prophet on the level with God Himself. And if you listen to some of the phone calls that they dumped yesterday, she affirms that in the way that she is speaking on her phone calls, reciting Bible verses, and also specifically one about the children will rise up and kill the parents. That was one of the Bible verses that she cited. So I don't know how they could have looked at that scenario and not realized this girl was completely off her rocker. But Ruby was so stupid that she was going to give her channel that was worth millions of dollars, just sign it over to Pam. She's going to give it to her. And in the meantime, Ruby was robbing the family. She was embezzling from her family. She drained the children's bank accounts, and she drained the um, shared account with Kevin. $85,000. They have not figured out where that money is. It's alleged that Ruby's attorney has the bag, basically. That's what it is. It was a bag. But we don't know. And we don't know where the pen papers are either. And this is something where she felt that she really was like the next coming of like Joseph Smith. This is so scary, you guys. I mean, what do you think about it? What do you think about this particular topic? Because it's certainly something much more interesting to look at this weekend than the Amberlynn bullshit and the Chantel bullshit, right? You guys are very quiet today. I can see that you're watching, but you're very quiet. You're just like, hi, what's going on? I don't know what to say, but the the dump is really interesting. There's a lot of channels that are covering it. I did mention, I think it's called like Hidden True Crimes or something like that. Dr. John and his wife. Although, I'll just be real with you that if you do watch it, it's a 2 hour long video, and they had a lot of technical difficulties. They were not prepared with their videos queued up and ready to go. And so there's a lot of frustrating moments of waiting. And when I did put a comment on their channel about that please, queue up your videos before you go live next time, I got pounded by like fangirls from their channel, fanboys and fangirls. They're like, how dare you criticize their... I don't think that's an unreasonable request. Just freaking queue up your videos before you go live. Girl World is boring right now. No Eugenia. I know. I actually said that on my last video. That, I'd rather Eugenia be back so that we have something interesting to comment on. I'm even sick of Jeffree Star, for real. I don't know what to say. Laugh out loud. Dancel says, I'm so over Chantel and Amberlynn sagas. I know, because, first of all, Chantel's been, I think it's actually pronounced Chantal. Chantal? I don't know. She's always saying that we're pronouncing her name wrong. She's been quiet for a couple of days. Her birthday's coming up on Friday. And we know she has to do a visa hop at some point. So I don't know. And she's also been hinting at having some mental health issues, that she wants to get an appointment. But it seems like she makes appointments and breaks appointments. So we would... Eugenia, I think, is falling some sort of blind hope that they're going to lift the age restriction. And I don't see it happening, because she keeps posting dancing videos and crap. Like, how does she think that she's going to get past the, exploiting her ED because obviously TikTok seems to be a lot harsher about it than YouTube. Chantel is never wrong. Hey, I know she just flips it. She just like rewrites history, right? Jess says the Kuwait saga is boring. She needs to come back to Canada. She does. She needs to come back to Canada, but not just for a family trip. She needs to break up with Salah, whatever level of relationship they have, whether they're married or not married or what. They don't really own anything together except for some nasty ass couches. Eugenia is waiting it out, says Jess. Yeah, I think so, Denzel. That she's hiding in Kuwait because she doesn't want to face her debts, like you said. Because she hasn't been paying her taxes and she has some bankruptcy issues. And so she doesn't want to face the music of that. But the reality is that she seriously needs health care. And she's getting sicker by the day. I mean, she looks a lot larger on the last live stream than she did in her live streams in Canada. Dancel says she's so miserable and is getting so big now. I know, and like she thinks that taking a walk like once every other week with Solara is gonna somehow like be enough exercise to help her actually lose weight. She when she eats like that, when she binges like that, it's like you can really see how sick she is. Because even that hamburger, if you guys watched the triple cheeseburger thing that she did, in the very next live stream, she admitted she didn't like it. That the only reason she kept eating it is because she knew that her fans wanted to see her eat it. That's so sick, you know? That's so sick. All right, Jess, how do you think Eugenia is doing mentally and physically? Not well. I don't think she's doing well at all. And if you are into the conspiracy theory bullshit, Revoke Reality pulled some, I guess she did like a Freedom of Information Act request and pulled some documents that are in relation to a custody battle that make it look like Deb had children with her former husband and does not have custodial rights to those children. We never hear about, like, they never come up on any of the conversations on Eugenie's channel. Um, and she also is making the speculation that Eugenia is from a former relationship that her father had with somebody named Colleen Ballinger. That's her last name, right? Yeah. And that she was renamed when Deb came into the picture. Denzel says that's a terrible way to live. Can you imagine if you had a tiny ass apartment like that and you never left it? You're just like sitting there at your mukbang table all day, eating and live streaming and not paying attention to your pets. She already said that she hates Howie. Well, then find a new home for him, you know? Jess says, I think that was a different Deb Sullivan. It's possible. I don't even know. I don't like doing that kind of digging because, and I said this on my last video that I'm uploading that talks about like how Amber Lynn is feeling. Like she's reviving this dispute that she had with Narc Alert. I disagree with her that it was doxing, but I can agree that it was invasive and that if Narc Alert is not a journalist, then she shouldn't be doing that kind of digging. And I kind of feel the same way about what Revoke's doing here, trying to find documents and make some sort of draw some conclusions from it. Because how do you know? Like, why would you put it out there if you really don't know? Because it could be slanderous. If it's wrong, it could be slanderous. Denzel says, do you think she deals with her depression by taking it out on her pets? Because she's so far gone, which is so wrong. Um, yes, I think she takes it out on everybody around her. And I think that's probably why Salah is never to be seen. I think that's why she eats in her home as though she's always eating for one, even though she's eating for a family of eight. Um, she doesn't portion out her meals onto plates. And she's got these giant ass meals, right? So um, she's making it apparent that Salah is not going to be sharing that food with her. He's not going to be sharing the drinks with her. Yeah, she doesn't know how to close her mouth when she chews. It's pretty gross. Did you see the when she was trying to eat the grape leaves and she kept choking on them? I think French Fried Girl covered this, that there's like a choking sound. There's like this crazy ass choking sound in the background while she's like doing that. Why can't she take small bites? I like seriously, why can't she just take small bites? The eating noise. Says Denzel. Jess, what's gonna happen if she, kicks the bucket over there? I've thought about this, and I'll tell you, I think that honestly, he'll have her cremated because it's a lot easier to send ashes back to her mom than it is to send the entire body. You know what I mean? Denzel, I can't stand it. I can't either. I've yelled at the live stream while I've been watching it. Like, shut your goddamn mouth. Kicks the bucket. I know that's such an old expression, right? Jess says laugh out loud. What do you guys think about like these live streamers using AI? And so when they come up on like laugh out loud, they say lol. Or when come up on laughing my ass off, they say LMAO. I find that so weird. Like, can't you, like, I've never used AI, so I don't know how it works, but can't you actually, like, program it to, like, be able to understand acronyms? Like, Jess, I'm from Mississippi, leave me alone. I'm kick the bucket. Whatever, there's lots of interesting expressions for that. Going home to pasture. Lots of ways you could say that. Denzel, I'm from the UK. Okay, cool, cool. I'm from South Orange County, y'all. It's a beautiful day today. It might rain a little bit again tonight because it was kind of raining over the weekend. I love saying old school. Kicking up daisies, yeah, Jess. Kicking up daisies, daisies. Dead, says Denzel. Yeah, he's passed. How many other expressions can you guys think of? He's at the pearly gates. I don't know if either of these girls are ever going to get to the pearly gates. She thinks, she thinks, that, no, I don't think she really does, though, being real. Danzel says heaven. I don't think that she totally believes that the effort that she's putting into learning a new religion is actually enough to save her soul. Jess, it's crazy that what we're watching, though. Yeah, it is. It's like, it is. It is crazy, right? It's really windy out here. I hope that's not affecting the sound too much. Denzel says she's making a mockery of all religions. Just not me smoking a cigarette too. Yeah, I kind of like pound them down when I'm outside because I don't smoke inside ever, you know? You know, if you look at Are You Serious's channel, oh, good, Denzel, I'm glad you like the sound of the wind. If you look at Are You Serious's channel, the Owl channel, she's also Muslim, and she's been really adamant that um, people should not judge the way Chantel is practicing or learning the religion or whether or not she's praying right, and that people who are Googling for information, I don't know how this goes, um, that they're getting it wrong. I try and stay away from the subject about like her religion too much, other than when she tries to knock down Christianity and Catholicism. I think that's a shit move for her to do, just because she decided to become Muslim. You know, she doesn't need to be throwing pot shots at Catholics and Christians. Jess says, I smoke in the hall between two houses with a vent. Denzel says, I vape. I used to smoke before my how do you pronounce it? Aortic dissection. Wow, okay. You know, my boyfriend likes to smoke in his garage, but he props open the side door to the backyard and puts a fan there so it sucks all the smoke out. He does that when he comes to visit me too. I got a fan right here that he puts up on the side and sucks all the smoke out. I figure it's a windy day. I don't need extra air flowing right now. 39 heart attack. That's pretty young, Danza. Nearly never made 40 years old. Well, I'm glad they caught you like when it happened, right? So that they could like make the corrections. Just as I'm 36 with RA and a cancer survivor. Oh, wow. You'll be 41 in July, Danza. Okay. I am turning 50 next month. So I have a nice little party planned. Thank you. Bless you too, Danzel. 37 in May, says Jess. Yeah, I'm gonna have the big 5-0. No, I'm just after the cusp. So I'm actually a Taurus, but I don't really believe in that stuff. I don't really believe in that stuff. I mean, for fun. I've read my horoscope in the past, but like, it's also generic that like it could really apply to anybody. So it doesn't really. I also like, okay, I'm not to knock any of the other channels, but if you're into this, it's out there. There's at least a couple of channels that do tarot readings. I can think of at least like three that are doing tarot readings for like Chantel and Amberlynn and stuff. That's kind of interesting. Look, I have watched that, and I'm like, I don't know. This seems like so easy to read if you like know who the person is. You've been watching their live streams for fun, but some of it's rubbish. Oh, I know. I've seen it. Yeah, like I will only watch the tarot readings if there's literally nothing else to watch. Like there's no SNL clips out there. There's no Daily Show for me. There's no like late night monologues and clips. Um, then I'll be like, okay, I'll check out your tarot reading. I know I've seen it, so stands off. I don't buy into that. I don't believe the spirit talks to you and tells you which cards to pick. I mean, maybe there's a trick to it, like magicians, where they have their little card tricks and stuff, and they know how to like find your card in a deck. TV is awful. I love watching YouTube. I just don't even have the attention. I'll tell you what. There is one thing coming up on TV. There's maybe two things on TV that I'm gonna potentially be diving into here. Jess doesn't watch TV anymore either. Some cards just fall out of the packet. Survivor restarted. I've been a hardcore Survivor fan since they started season one back in what was it, like 2000 or something like that. So I'll probably, and I think I'm DVRing it so I can go back and catch up. But the other one is I need to know when the Return of House of Cards comes. Wait, no, that's not what it's. Not House of Cards. That was the one with Kevin Spacey. Um, House of the Dragons, right? There's gonna be season two of House of the Dragons coming up, and I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, you guys. I love that series so much. I hated the way they ended it. The final season sucked. I'm on board with everybody's opinion on that. It's pretty racy, Danzal, if you've never seen it. It's bloody. It's like super bloody. And they literally hired like porn actors to be in it. There's a lot of nudity. Um, and it's a very interesting story, but they had to go off page somewhere in the later seasons because the book isn't actually finished and try and come up with like how it was going to end on their own. There are some episodes of Game of Thrones that are so epic they could be like movies in a theater by themselves. They're just like amazingly epic episodes. And some of the music choices and stuff. Yeah, check it out. If you have HBO, you can probably pull it all up because it would be in your HBO Plus Prime, whatever it's called. So if you have like a Roku device or something like that, you can log in and you can pull up all that stuff. I think House of the Dragon is in there too. And AMC, I think, has, or even maybe Netflix, has Breaking Bad. If you haven't seen Breaking Bad, that's another one that I just watched and watched. Like, I kept on, like, binge watching it over and over again because it's so good. What else? What recommendations do you all have? Even if you don't watch TV now, like, were there things in the past that you really got into? Oh, Denzel likes Breaking Bad. Cool, cool. Um, I have not finished Better Call Saul, and I don't have Netflix right now, so I can't pull it up. I tried to get the AMC add-on, and they don't have the full collection to watch. So I'm like, why am I paying for this bullshit? Right? So we got one more day for the weekend. You guys have plans? You just chilling out, playing on YouTube? Are you gonna go out like and do some things? I have to clean today. I have to clean and then run some errands. Oh right, because you're in the UK. So your weekend is really over. Yeah, it's gotta be pretty late, isn't it, Dancel? I lived in a hostel, so there's always something good going on. Oh, I bet. You've probably seen all kinds of interesting characters, if you will, coming in and out. A friend of mine backpacked Europe, and oh, that's not too bad then. You're not like close to midnight yet. Um, my friend backpacked Europe, and she stayed in hostels the whole time. She did it by herself, too. That's brave. That takes some balls right there. She saved up like $5,000 and just went for it. Saw a bunch of countries. That is some bravery right there. She did that back in the 90s. She did, while she was over there, she met some other travelers that were doing the same thing, but they were traveling together from the States. And they, at least one of them, lived in Vegas. So after she got back, we had a Vegas weekend and met up with her. They seemed cool enough. You know what? I was a single mom in the 90s, so I wasn't like on the same level with my friends where they all wanted to party and do all this stuff. And I had responsibilities. I couldn't do that, you know? You've met some funny people, huh, Denzel? Wow. Do you ever watch Dateline? I used to really be into like Forensic Files and Dateline and stuff like that back in the aughts. So when I saw that the SNL skit where they made fun of how all women love crime shows, that's what I was covering before I started getting into the girl world, right? I had been covering like some of the true crime documentaries and like the Ruby Frankie stuff, and um, yes, you love Forensic Files. It's a learning curve in regards to the funny people. Well, I bet you're learning patience, right? Hey, Robert, are you saying you do like forensic? I do forensics. I don't know what that means. Yeah. That's a good life skill to have, is to learn patience and learn how to be an active listener, right? Like sit back and listen. Did you see one of the things that came out of the Ruby dump yesterday is first of all, I think most of us think that her plea in, you know, agreeing that she was going to accept the charges and that she deserved to go to prison, so on and so forth, that it came across as really manipulative so that they would have some leniency on her Like, well, I was brainwashed by Jody. I got sucked into a cult and, so on and so forth, right? Um, but they have so much more evidence in her own journal that got dumped yesterday that indicates that she was doing a lot of this when Jody wasn't even in the house. That a lot of this were her own decisions, and she has some very bizarre phone calls too of equating herself to a prophet. Um, and these two ladies, they never act like they're really sorry for what they did to these kids. You know, like Jody immediately went into, well, he did that to himself, like the rope burns that were under the duct tape and the plastic wrap. There was plastic wrap and duct tape, and the rope burns were being treated with cayenne pepper and honey. Probably because they knew if they took him to an actual medical facility, Child Protective Services would have been called on the spot. So they were trying home care, which made the situation much worse, right? Because they weren't even using alcohol, they weren't exposing the wounds to oxygen so that they could heal. They were just getting worse and worse. But Jody said he did it to himself because he was squirming around in the ropes. I know it is evil beyond words. And I think most of us would be like, you don't realize he was trying to escape his bondage? He was trying to escape his bondage by any means necessary. You are still, as an adult, responsible for those gaping wounds. Because they tied him down together. That's what he told the paramedic. They tied him down at the same time, right? So that they could, probably because he was trying to escape, right? And they tied him to weights so that he could not escape. What was the kid doing tied up anyway? Dantel asks. Well, there is video of them searching for him one night because he ran away. So this was the punishment for running away. That's why they tied him down. But I don't know how many times they did that. They may have done it more than once. He was clearly trying to get out of the situation. No, you don't do it. You're right, Danzel. One of the videos that I watched yesterday was a child psychologist who said that when you consider what you're going to do for child discipline, you take away wants, not needs, right? So if a child is misbehaving, maybe you take away their TV time. Maybe you take away their iPhone. Maybe you take away playtime with friends or something like that, right? Wants, not needs. I know. It's the video of Frankie is pretty disturbing because you can see how brainwashed she is. Um, but you don't take away needs, basic needs. Like you need to be able to sleep in it. Like especially if you're like have the resources. I understand if you're too poor to provide for your family and you're just getting by, with what you have. But these were rich people, right? You do not take away a bed. You do not take away meals. You do not take away the ability to attend school, right? the ability to get an education. No, you don't take from children. No. I mean, if you want to take Christmas away and be a dick, technically you could, but like that's an emotional distress too. Yeah, you don't take away any of the essential needs. Like, don't take away physicians' care, doctors' care, right? She was never taking them to doctors. She was afraid of traditional medicine. She was afraid of police officers. Um, she was afraid of the schools. I don't know if it was a private school or it was a public school. I don't think it would matter either way, but they are mandatory reporters, right? So if something's going wrong with your kids, they're being abused or whatnot, they're going to be the ones who have to report it to DCFS. I think that's what they call it in Utah, DCFS. So she was doing everything to keep her kids off the grid. They were in the process of looking for a new compound in Arizona, which is hotter than southern Utah. I bet she's scared now, and good, I hope they're having hell inside. That's all. Yeah, I just hope that whatever they actually get sentenced with, it's reasonable because they will, in my humble opinion, still be a risk to society if they serve short sentences. They need to serve long ass sentences to clear out that whole I'm a prophet bullshit. Because it's very easy to say, oh, yes, I am repentant. Please have mercy on me. Please don't give me a long sentence. That's easy to say. But she's still a danger. And we already know that she was capable of building a channel with millions of followers. What next? I think part of the sentencing should have been that she's banned from producing videos and using like TikTok and using YouTube and using Instagram, and she should be prevented from using anything in which she might try and evangelize her user base, because that's exactly what she was doing, you know? Okay, well, I have been going for almost an hour. I'm going to try and have some more peanuts and settle my stomach. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I know the rest of yours is pretty short, Denzel, but y'all have fun. I'm going to go do some cleaning. Take care, y'all.